Our goals are to hit dingers, disgrace the pitcher's family, make the other players cry, and stomp their butts into the ground. Does everyone understand that? Does everybody understand that?
Welcome back to the Run and Shoot podcast. Ryan here with my co-host Chuck. Chuck, how's it going?
Woo! I'm feeling good, man. It is episode 12, man. It is good to be back on, especially Titans are now 2-0, man.
2-0. Tannehill looking good. You know, Henry got 200 yards already, but not the greatest average. They've been feeding him the rock, but it's going to break open eventually.
Yeah, I think he's right now below almost 3.5 yards per carry. But when you have about 9, 10 in a box stacked on you, it's going to happen. But, man, Tannehill's lighting it up. Man, that's what we needed was quarterback consistency, and we've got that, and it seems like the weapons around him are picking up.
A lot of those short runs, though, end up helping out the play action that's been so good for the offense there with the Tennessee Titans.
Tannehill is just phenomenal at the play action right now.
He's playing good, man. He's playing good. I don't want to jinx it, but he's playing good through two. The defense in this last one, a little sketchy.
Scary. But I think it just goes back to no pressure up front, and when that happens, Gardner Minshew had his way with us in the second half. Definitely. You can tell the pressure wasn't there, but in the end, my man Jeffrey Simmons pulled it out, swat it, and then Gerald Landry catches it to end the game. So it was perfect. So, I mean, we bend a lot. We thought for a minute there that we're going to get the ball back and maybe possibly win this thing. But you know what? The Titans grinded another one out, man. I love this team because, everybody wants you to see big flashy points, beat teams out, blow them out and stuff, kind of like the Chiefs and Baltimore do. But when you have a team like the Titans, like we have, it's kind of like the Patriot they don't always do everything perfect, but it matters if you're in it at the end and you grind out the win. And I feel like that's what we're at right now. The Denver game wasn't pretty. Jacksonville game wasn't pretty, but at the end, at the 2 minutes, who came out on top? We did. So that's all that matters. We grinded it out. We'll talk more about the Titans here a little bit. Ryan, how was your weekend, man?
Man, it was great. I did a little bit of working, but, other than that, it was great. A great weekend for sports, NBA playoff action, NFL action, some golf.
It's a wide open right now, man.
Little college football, and then that's going to crack open even more this next weekend. But,
oh, man.
A good weekend for me. How about you?
It was good. Same as you, working it, but kept my eye on the Titans game while I was at work, lunch, and had my phone out in front of me as I was working on the computer a little bit.
Following that fantasy football. We'll hit on that some, too. A little bit of NBA action, some MLB news, college football action as well. Before we wrap up with some NFL and, some more fantasy talk. But, Chuck, why don't you hit us with that opening drive?
You got it, man. Before we get to talking football, we got some NBA still going on. We got the Western and Eastern Conference Finals battling out. And right now, we've got a game going on in the Western Conference Finals between the Denver Nuggets and the L.A. Lakers. Now, Ryan, your overall view of this series so far, yes, the Lakers are 2-0, but they've not really dominated this series. Game one was kind of like...
Game one, they did.
Yeah.
Game two, it looked like the Nuggets may have had that thing locked up, but Anthony Davis from the corner in those black Mamba jerseys, as he says, he yelled Kobe when he shot it. Game winner right there. Just phenomenal, right? You can't script it much better than that. And then tonight, looking like Denver's pressing pretty hard so far. Game three happening as we're recording this. Denver's impressed me so far. I wouldn't count them out at all. They need a win tonight.
Yeah, they can't go down 3-0 to Lakers. It's almost seemingly impossible. It's already a hard road for the Nuggets already, being down 2-0 against the LeBron James-led team. But it's not impossible. If they can get the win tonight, they're going to be right in the thick of the race. I thought they should have won game 2, but it seems like this team is adapting as each game goes along. You look back at the past series against the LA Clippers, they constantly adapted to the team, even when they went down 3-1. But you can just see each game after that, they adapted, got better. They figured out how better to score with Murray, Jokic in the middle, man. This team adapts, and that makes them a very dangerous basketball team. I don't care if you have LeBron James. I don't care if Michael Jordan's on that team. But when you have a team that constantly adapts and gets better each game, that makes them a very dangerous team. So I feel like the Denver Nuggets are well in this thing, but they've got to get the win tonight. That is 100% sure. Now, tomorrow night will be the Boston and Miami game. The game is right now 2-1 Miami in the series. Before that, though, it seemed like Boston was at a big disarray, Ryan. I mean, there was rumblings that Brad Stevens got the leaders together and had like a gigantic shouting match powwow of checking emotions a little bit, because each game has been very, very close between these two teams.
Well, a lot of good players there in Boston, but still a lot of guys that are young, not a ton of playoff experience yet. I mean, a little bit considering, but Jaylen Brown's coming into his own right now, and I think he's going to be the best player on that team in another couple of years. All respect to Tatum, too, because he's a dominant player in the NBA. But
very.
When those guys get going, when you get Kemba going, they're a team to be reckoned with as far as that goes. Marcus Smart, he's way better than I've ever given him credit for as far as that goes and what he means to that team. But, when you look, back at the last game, 26 points for Jaylen Brown, 5 assists, 7 rebounds. That's a nice little stat line, especially when you pair him with Tatum. 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists there. So the two paired together playing tremendous. And when you get 21 out of Walker and 20 out of Smart, you're going to win. You know what I mean?
You're going to win, yeah.
They were getting buckets as far as that goes. But Miami, it's a tough matchup, man. Jimmy Butler still, he's a dominant defender, and he drives that team. That team's only going to go as far as their leader takes them.
Well, it's just Jimmy Buckets is, like I said, has been on point with this team. I've said it all along. This team is bought in. They're in this thing. They're more in this thing. They are, to me, in the driver's seat, but it just seems like this Boston seemed like they're settling down a little bit. That whole, like you said, Tatum, Smart, Brown, Walker, these 4 players are a perfect fitted chemistry team. And I think they're finally starting to settle down. If they can get the win tomorrow night, we've got a whole new series. Because I for a while there, I thought Miami is looking pretty damn hot right now. But
who do you think wins that series?
I still don't know, man. I'm still up in the air with it. I want to say right now it's still Miami. I kind of picked them at the beginning because.
So you think Miami-LA finals?
Yeah. I mean, that's a good finals. I mean, everybody wants to see Boston and LA. I kind of don't want to see it. I've seen that. I've seen that song and dance for several years back.
I think that's the matchup of the two best overall teams left, just in my personal opinion.
Well, yeah, it is.
And I think it'd be the best matchup.
I mean, yeah, on paper it'd be the best matchup because you got Boston, who, like I said, has got a good. Those 4 players we mentioned are good.
You got a couple guys you can throw at LeBron, I feel like.
You can.
Because, I feel like Smart's going to chase him around a lot, too. But you can switch between him, Tatum, Brown. I mean, you got a couple of guys you can throw LeBron's way. You're gonna. Nobody really has an answer for Anthony Davis, and the matchup there definitely would scare me. But I think that'd be the best matchup, right? Boston, LA.
It would be the best matchup, but I kind of like to see Miami and LA because that'd be fun. Jimmy Buckets versus LeBron and company. That'd be fun.
LA down double digits right now, but still early.
Well, don't count out Denver. I was wrong to count out Denver the last series. But we'll see. And I thought the Clippers were actually better than the Lakers too.
I hope Denver can win a game or two at least and make this somewhat of a series because I think that could be,
Well, yeah.
that's always fun.
Well, they're well on the way tonight. So, I mean, after you hear this, the game will done be over. Hopefully they can get it done tonight so it can make it an interesting series. I mean, that's what you want when you watch any NBA series. You want to see an interesting one. You don't want to see a sweep. I mean, even unless you're a super fan that you just want to hurry up and get the series over with. But a true basketball fan, you want to see a great, great series. So, with that being said, there's some other news outside the playoffs right now. Billy Donovan got hired by Chicago, which, Ryan, where do you grade that move for Chicago?
Yep, Jim Boylan out, Billy Donovan in as the Chicago Bulls head coach. I'm a big Billy Donovan fan. I liked what he did with Oklahoma City this past season. Him and Chris Paul meshed well together as far as the voice, speaking to a lot of young guys out there in Oklahoma City, and got that team playing pretty well down in Orlando and throughout the regular season this past year, better than a lot of people expected, I feel like, right?
Right. But I feel like this is more of a risky move to go to the Chicago Bulls.
For Billy Donovan, more of a risky move for him than for Chicago.
For him.
Where do you think he should have went?
I think he should have stayed at OKC. I feel like he had something good
Well, they mutually
going.
agreed to part ways. So, neither party wanted to keep that relationship going. He was moving on.
But it just seems like there's something that has to be there that we don't know, Ryan. It has to be. I mean,
What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean,
sometimes, relationships just sour a little bit, and they figured, maybe they've got a plan that his visions don't align with.
Well, maybe not, maybe so. But
and he's going to Chicago, a team full of youth as far as that goes. Not, a ton of proven talent up there, but we'll see what he can do to craft that team.
I feel like Donovan should have just kind of avoided the Chicago Bulls there. I mean, they've not.
Don't like the move for him at all, it sounds like.
It's just for Chicago, I give it an A+ because it's a good coaching hire. But for Billy Donovan to take Chicago, I take it as a D-. So D- for Donovan going to Chicago and an A+ for Chicago grabbing Donovan. If that makes any sense, Ryan. I mean, it's just I feel like Chicago got the win, but Billy Donovan reputation could take a hit if things go south in Chicago. So, I mean, we'll see. Now, maybe he'll come out this offseason and get some big-time players.
And he's got the number 4 pick in the draft, he's got a lottery pick there to play with.
I mean, he could be in the sweepstakes for Giannis. You never know. We don't know.
I don't see that one happening, Chuck. You're trying to throw Giannis everywhere here.
I don't think he stays with Milwaukee. I just don't see it.
I think he's staying.
You think he's staying?
I think he's staying. I think he's staying put. I think he's a loyal guy, and I think they will go out and spend some money, put some things around him, and make sure that they're contending a little bit harder next season.
Well, they're better because he's the kind of talent that he can't do it himself, and they're going to have to get a good supporting cast around him in Milwaukee. But they better get on it. But, Ryan, you got some MLB news for me, brother?
Yep, the Braves just recently locked up playoff berth there. We've got other teams locking up playoff berths around the league as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what the playoffs are going to bring here. Doing the separate bubbles as far as that goes once that gets started. If the Braves can keep those bats hot, I'm excited.
Boy,
right?
they're white hot right now with them bats right now.
Cole Hamels just recently announced that he's shutting it down. So, you had some hope that he was going to be able to help with that pitching staff, but not the case. So, I mean, what they've got a lot of young guys we've mentioned on the come up, but going to be some big expectations from those guys. But shoot, as long as the bats stay as hot as they've been, they're averaging probably over 10 runs a game over the last little stretch.
Right.
May not worry too much, but once the playoffs start, true baseball fans know, look, pitching wins championships.
It does. That's why I think LA's still the slight favorite, man. They've got probably the best bullpen in baseball.
No, you're absolutely right.
And, all the best in the world. I mean, like you said, they could go in the playoffs and just hit the ball to the outer space for all we know, man. But it's like, defense wins championships in football. Pitching wins championships in baseball. It's all about that defense. All right, I got some college football, man. We are right around the corner, man, of some SEC action. But before we get into that, I kind of want to go over some of the games that were played over the weekend. We had Miami Hurricanes and the Louisville Cardinals as the quote-unquote primetime game, if you will. Miami came out and blew the doors off the Cardinals. I'm trying to pull up the score, but there was a quarterback for Miami, King. He used to be the Houston quarterback, Houston Cougars, but then he transferred, graduate transfer, went to Miami, and now it seems like he's carving out a new path for him, and it seems like it's already working. The final on that game was 47-34, so that's a good sounding win right there. King, like I said, had a great game, 18 of 30, 325 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. The dude is on point. Miami seems like they could be a challenger to Clemson. Ryan, what do you think? Do you think Miami maybe has a chance?
I don't see it.
You don't see it?
Clemson's on a totally different level. That's an SEC type level that they're playing on.
I agree.
As far as the caliber of players they have and just the style of play that they roll with, I don't see anybody in the ACC contending.
I agree with you, Ryan. Miami, I think, is probably a second best as of right now, but we don't know with COVID and all that going on right now.
Well, ranked 12th in the nation, right, Miami?
Yeah. So, I mean, they're ranked 12th in the nation as according to the standings right now. I'll tell you who had a downer this weekend was Oklahoma State, man. They came into the country ranked 11th. Of course, they took a tumble this week. They played Tulsa. And for most of the game, Tulsa played them tough. For most of the game, until Oklahoma State had to score 13 points in the fourth quarter. 16-7 was the final over Tulsa. That's not like a Gundy team to just give up, not score a lot like they did.
Yeah, they like to spread the ball out. They like
do.
to really get that offense going. But, hey, looks like Tulsa must have came prepared.
Well, they came a little bit hungry, but like I said, Oklahoma State came and pulled out the win. But they did take a tumble. I think they dropped like 7-8 spots.
You know what else is a downer, too, though? Speaking of college football, so Notre Dame-Wake Forest game was actually delayed. They announced that today. 7 Notre Dame players tested positive for COVID-19.
Yikes. Man, we were on a good streak there. Just hearing, not just the college football, but just all sports hearing like, hey, no positive test or everything. But I think out of all of them, we knew college would probably be the more risky.
You're going to have players test positive.
Right.
I mean, what do you delay games? Do you have some kind of plan in place? You would think, right? I mean, if you're going to start a season,
right,
to maybe isolate those players and go forward with some other guys. I don't know. Can you be too careful?
Well, you can.
Can you be overly careful?
You can probably be overly careful. But with 7 players, I guess at this point you've got to take recognition and actually postpone the game. Now, they could go ahead and move it, but I don't see it. I think they'll just...
Well, they've said postpone, so I'd imagine that's what they're going to look to do is to move it somewhere and play it at a later date.
But with Notre Dame being an independent, even though they play on an ACC schedule, they're an independent. They probably just let it fall off.
I don't know.
It doesn't count towards conference. That's what I'm saying. So, we'll see. We'll see. Now, Ryan, let's get to the main event. We've been talking about this for a couple weeks. The SEC is back this weekend. I am so happy that it's
Hallelujah.
back. Now the real league we can really talk about college football.
We're about to get real college football, and shit's about to get totally real in the SEC. 10-game slate, SEC versus SEC, pretty much a round robin, right? It's just going to be everybody playing each other. It's going to be quite the gauntlet for anybody to come out of the SEC this year. But,
right, absolutely.
You're going to have one of the contenders at least what, 2 to 3 in the NCAA playoffs from the SEC, you would think. But, man, how many losses is, maybe the second or the third SEC team that gets into the playoffs going to have? Because,
I mean,
when you
two
think of the
is not-
gauntlet,
yeah.
come out of the SEC in a normal year unscathed is saying something, but you're playing more SEC games this year.
Yeah, we're going to see probably a lot of 2 lost teams ranked in the top 10 for sure. Because, like you said, you got 2 more games added. This is probably going to be the grindest season we've ever seen in the SEC. Like you said, adding 2 more, 8 is tough on its own. And you add 2 more, look out, folks. I mean, if you're like Arkansas, God bless them, they are. I mean, they play Georgia out of the gate. They're at Fayetteville, and I forget who it said it, but if someone on Twitter saying, look out for Arkansas to knock off Georgia. No.
You think Frank's going to get it done?
I don't think Frank's will get it done. I'm sorry. They're going to need an act of God to get through the schedule.
I'm excited to see, regardless of which way it goes, though. SEC football
Is back.
and especially the parity you have with all of it this year. Hopefully everything can keep going, as far as no shutdowns, no more delays in games and things like that. But look, man, SEC round robin, that excites me.
I got a fun fact for you. What ticket do you think is the most expensive this weekend for SEC football? Which game do you think?
SEC game, the most expensive ticket
You
this
would
week.
be
And it has to be
surprised.
somewhere that's allowing fans, obviously.
I think they're all allowing fans.
Okay.
I think they're all allowing them. Because they got the ticket prices up, and I see one, and it shocked me.
Is it Mississippi State LSU?
Negative. It is Auburn. It is Kentucky at Auburn.
Wow. Okay. 23 versus 8.
Yes, but they're both ranked, and I think that's why it's higher. It's I think the highest ticket's over $1,000.
Really? But I mean, what's the capacity, right?
Yeah. I think that's why it's high, because of the capacity level. And it's a top 25 team. That's going to be prime time on the SEC for sure. So, yeah, that's a fun fact. It'll be played at Jordan Hare, so they're probably going to have at least 20, 25,000 there strong. Some of the other games, your boys are going to be playing the Lane Train, so Florida at Ole Miss this weekend.
Whew.
Is that going to be an upset?
No, I don't think so. Number 5 ranked Florida, I think will take care of business, but I'm so interested to see what Ole Miss looks like just right out of the gates with Lane Kiffin there calling shots.
They're wearing the light blue.
Dude, I'll tell you what, Ole Miss, some of those uniforms are badass.
Icy blue, that's what it was.
Those
Icy
are sweet,
blue.
man.
Yeah.
Look, I can't hate on any of that stuff. And look, Ole Miss, they've had things rolling in the right direction quite a few years. I think Lane Kiffin there could be pretty deadly for a lot of other teams here in the SEC. But year one especially, and with a team that Florida's returning, Trask, look, I think Florida's going to take care of business week 1.
Well, it's just you know that Ole Miss can, they go down the field and score. They have a lot of good offensive firepower the last couple of years. It just takes that one coach. And God, why am I giving credit to Lane Kiffin? But the guy's an offensive guru. I mean, he's going to make Ole Miss better. I think they'll push Florida, but they ain't going to beat them. Auburn, and of course, like I said, Kentucky at Auburn, top 25 matchup. I see Auburn taking care of it. My upset of the week will be Leach's boys knocking off LSU. I see Mississippi State does it. I think they'll beat them.
Here's a little fun fact for you, though. When you talk about that Florida game, it's the first time that Florida is going to begin its season with a true road game for the first time since 1987.
That's a long time, man.
That's a long time. That's kind of wild. They played number 10 ranked Miami in Miami back in 87.
That's crazy, man. That's wild. But like I said, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU, I think that'll be your upset of the week. I feel it, man. I think Leach is going to get them boys pumped up. That's going to be on CBS at 2:30. And you also, like I said, Georgia at Arkansas on SEC Network. Bama at Missouri on ESPN, prime time, 6 o'clock. Then you got Vanderbilt at Texas A&M at College Station. They'll be on an SEC Network at 6:30, and then you got the main event. Tennessee at South Carolina on
main
SEC.
event.
It's the main event.
Gosh.
Save the best for last, Tommy. Save the best for
Snooze fest. You guys, there's no way. You don't stand a chance.
We'll beat them 14, 17 points.
You beat Muschamp, what, one time, right?
We're going to beat them again.
I don't know,
There's
man.
no doubt, man.
Don't count them out.
Nah, I'm counting the boys
Don't count them out. That number 16 ranking can slip away pretty quick.
Nah.
And
we
let me
got
get this straight, though. You say Coach O, you think Coach O could go down week 1 to the Mad, well, not the Mad Hatter. What do they call him? The Mad Scientist, I guess, with Mike
the
Leach
old
there.
pirate. The old
first
pirate.
game, Mississippi State, first game in the SEC. I'm very interested to see it, but I don't know, man. That offense is going to get tested right off the bat against LSU.
I just think LSU's just got a lot of players gone.
For sure, but
they got
usually
to.
it's the next man up there with a program like that.
It is, but I think it's just a lot that they've got to replace, and I can just see Leach come out with Mississippi State, nothing to lose, backs against the wall, everybody's picking against them, so he'll probably do some crazy stuff, air raid, some trick plays, and I think they get it done. It might be actually high scoring. I think it might be high scoring. But out of all the games, Ryan, which one intrigues you the most? I said LSU and Mississippi State was mine.
It's a good question. Obviously, I'm going to have my eye on the Florida game. Florida, Ole Miss.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that's, quite interesting as far as that goes, and we've already talked about why. Kentucky, Auburn is going to be interesting, and you talk about the ticket price being so high there. Kind of understandable. I mean, as far as Kentucky ranked 23, Auburn ranked 8, we're going to see, what each team's got right off the bat, but
right. So, yeah.
Auburn, Kentucky, I'll have my eye on that one.
Yeah, I'll be eyeing my boys in orange right there as they beat the hell out of South Carolina, send Will Muschamp packing, as we always do. But Ryan, the SEC is back. We're so happy.
Woo!
So happy. So, with that being said, let's jump right into some NFL action. And, man, like week 1, it was great, and then it just seemed like it fell back down to earth, Ryan, with week 2 because the injuries were just so
a lot of
crazy,
injuries,
man.
A lot of injuries, but a lot of action. When you look at NFL week 2, breaking down the scores, the Raiders ran all over the Saints on Monday Night Football. That's the freshest on our minds. Vegas 34, New Orleans 24. What did you see in that matchup?
I just feel like Waller, man, was just the baller of that game. I mean, he had 16 targets, 12 catches for a tight end. That's Kels numbers right there, man. And I think old John Gruden got it going on down at Sin City, man. We're feeling pretty good, man.
He's got him going good. And did you see that video of him breaking him down in the locker room, man?
I love it.
Pretty badass, right? It looked like he's got him. I don't know if was that doing like the little Cobra clutch things like from dodgeball. That's what I thought it was.
It's just like
got the troops fired up.
Yeah, it got him fired up, but he's got that team bought in. I don't know if it's because they moved to a new city or what. David Carr looked crisp throwing the football.
Carr's looked good. Jacobs has looked pretty good too.
I mean, when you got Carr, Jacobs, and Waller playing well, that defense came up at the right time and shut that team down. Shut down the Saints really quick. You see a little unfamiliarity with Drew Brees, man. You're used to seeing that air raid attack.
The Saints looked like shit.
They did. And it just, I mean, maybe because of Michael Thomas out.
Definitely it is. You see how much they miss Michael Thomas as, again, Raiders literally ran all over the Saints. Then the Seahawks win a thriller.
What a game.
Over the Pats on Sunday night. Another from the 1-yard line finish right there as Cam Newton gets tackled at the 1. Seattle 35, New England 30.
What a fun game that was. They don't get to talk about this a lot because they're so focused on Russell Wilson, which he does deserve the credit. He leads the league in touchdown passes by 3 or 4 touchdowns. I get it, credit, but Cam Newton had 400 yards passed in that game. He looked pretty efficient behind center. I mean, he looked good. I was really impressed how
But what are you going to do up against Russell Wilson through 2 games? 82.5% completion rate, 610 yards passing with 9 TDs, 1 interception.
Man, he's a baller. He's balling out right now, man.
He's killing it.
It's just like you told me before. You're buying a lot of stock in. I can see why.
I'm a heavy investor in fantasy this year. I mean, he moves that rock, and if you've got either one of those receivers out there, you're looking pretty good, especially if you pair them together.
It is so incredible how in tune he is in that offense. Whether he's throwing to Carson, I mean, Carson's looking good. You can't miss out on Carson. Hyde's even running the ball. DJ Metcalf, Lockett. You got Olsen making some plays. This offense, man, is deadly. Just as deadly as Baltimore and as KC. Probably the most deadliest offense in the NFC, bar none.
Seahawks getting it done.
They're getting it done.
Then you had the Rams. They dominated the Eagles. LA 37, Philly 19.
I don't know if it's because the Rams are actually that good or the Eagles are just that bad. I think it's a little bit of both. I think the Rams are showing a lot of moxie. They're showing that swagger they had before. But they're doing it different. Like Brown, we thought that Brown would dominate the backfield. Henderson comes back, and he has a big game. He has almost 80 yards and a touchdown. It seems like the Rams are getting that swagger back. So, like I said, the Seahawks are good, but they don't need to get too cocky because the Rams, with McVay at the helm and that offense doing well.
Goff's playing pretty good.
Goff's playing good. It seems like they're getting, just a little bit of that old swagger back 2 years ago that they had.
We'll see. It's going to be a tight race.
And then you look at Carson Wentz. God bless him. 4 picks in 2 games.
He's playing pretty shitty.
Well, you look at the offensive line, man. He's getting hit like crazy, man. He's going to get hurt again, and then that team's just going to be up creek without a paddle. But thank God for them. They play in the NFC East.
So Carson Wentz, when you look at him, 50 of 85, 512 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks, 2 fumbles.
That's 6 turnovers. That's not going to get it done. Not even close. I don't care if you play in the weakest division in football. You have 6 turnovers already.
And he's lost over 60 yards on sacks in 2 games.
He's taking a beating.
It's not good, man.
I think it starts with the offensive line.
No targets. Offensive line, trash right now.
I mean, they have good sets of backs back there.
Lane Johnson needs to get back on the juice.
They got to get back on the juice. They're going to have to do something at running back. I like Miles Sanders. Can't stay healthy. Boston Scott can't be trusted. And Corey Clement can't be trusted either.
Safe bet, stay away from the Philly offense. Moving on, the Falcons found a way to blow another game, this time to the Cowboys. Dallas 40, Atlanta 39.
Here's a fun stat for you that I learned today. Falcons had over 400 yards of offense with 0 turnovers and still lost the game. The first ever loss ever of that stat line ever happening.
Matt Ryan finding all kinds of new ways to lose. He's damn good at it, man.
He wasn't him. It's the damn coaching staff, man. Dan Quinn is just not the guy. He's not it. He's got to go. If I'm Arthur Blank, I'm looking at this point, get out of my damn
He's
stadium.
a defensive coach, man, and when your defense is playing so trashy, it's going to have folks pointing fingers at you.
What about that onside kick, man?
Jeez.
Why?
That's so bad. I've never seen anything like that.
That ball scooted. They waited. You don't have to wait
It's like
10
he didn't
yards.
understand, hey, man, look, we don't have to wait 10 yards. Only the kicking team does.
They know that now, but a little too late. You blew the game.
And those spinning kicks, they never work.
That was crazy. It just floated. I'm like,
as soon as they got it, though, you're like, uh-oh.
That's it.
Game, set, match, dude. They've blown this. They know how to blow a game, and they did it again.
Another stat line, too. Dak Prescott's the first quarterback to have 400 yards passing, but with 3 rushing touchdowns.
He's playing good.
He's balling out. I mean, we knew that offense was going to play
spreading the ball around there in Dallas. But, look, they very well should have lost this game.
No,
they're going to have to pick things up, especially in the defensive side
when you
of the
have
ball.
3 fumbles in the first half, you 9 times out of 10, 9.5 times out of 10, you're losing that game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The Steelers squeak out an ugly one over the Broncos. Pittsburgh 26, Denver 21. Denver decimated by injury.
Yes, man. I mean, not only do they lose Von Miller, now they've lost Drew Lock, their quarterback. I think he had a torn rotator cuff. He's going to be out for almost a month and a half. Cortland Sutton. tore his ACL, man.
He's out.
He's gone. So those are two more demoralizing injuries for the Broncos, who came into this season with promise, but now they find themselves in the division.
Did you mention Von Miller? Because he's already out for the season too.
Yeah, he's out for the season as well. Now you got a promising Broncos team that was supposed to challenge for an AFC West. They're down 2 games. They're already lost 2 games. Last place in the division. The Raiders are playing well. The Chargers are playing well.
I didn't expect him really to compete, but I expected to see something from those guys. Because Locke, he's played better than I thought he would coming into the league.
Well, I knew he would play good. I mean, the kid was good at Missouri, man. He was deadly with the football.
He definitely was.
He was better than
He beat both of our teams.
He put the ass whooping on us. I get it. But I knew going into a quarterback-friendly system like Denver had, he would do better than Joe Flacco ever would. He should have started way before Joe Flacco. But this year, though, if you're a Broncos fan, you are just demoralized. You're pulverized by what you're seeing right now. And let's talk about the Steelers for a minute. Big Ben balling out. Devontae Johnson, man. What a baller, man.
He's playing good. Juju's playing good. And you still got solid play out of the backfield there from James Conner.
The James
and Snell, if he can stop fumbling the football, he's looking pretty good too, the young kid out of Kentucky.
Yeah, and look at the defense. That pass rush has gotten that swag back a little bit.
No, you're right. Bud Dupree balling out right now.
Oh, he destroyed Locke on that sack, too. That hurt him, man.
Oof.
It was a freak accident. I mean, he was trying to run, he's stumbling, and he gets smacked by Bud Dupree. And you got T.J. Watt, who's lighting it up. Milton, the corner, man, he had a hell of a game, too. I mean,
you're right.
But Hayden, he had a pick in that game. So,
yeah, and remember they picked him up. He was just cut from Cleveland a couple years ago, and they signed him, and he's just reinvented himself there with the Steelers. Or, well, he probably just got burnt out there in Cleveland, let's be honest.
Who don't get burnt out in Cleveland? But it just goes to show that that Steelers are making a good case to be a challenger for the Baltimore Ravens right now.
Playing good and got by Denver this week. The 49ers, they won a costly game injury-wise over the Jets. San Fran 31, New York 13.
Sheesh. I mean, the 31-13, I saw a meme. You ever seen the Avengers Infinity War right at the end where Thanos snaps his finger, sees his daughter, and the daughter said, "Did you do it? Did you win?" "Yes." "What did it cost?" "Everything." So the reason I bring that up, the San Fran won over a lowly Jets team. But look, they've lost Nick Bosa for the year with a knee injury. Eric Armstead, knee injury, gone. He's gone. Those are 2 high-profile pass rushers gone. And then also you had Jimmy Garoppolo got nicked up. I've not heard anything about it. Hopefully he plays. And then you have Mozart, who had a good game. He had almost 100 yards.
Solomon Jones, I think he got hurt too.
He got hurt, man. And then you also had Telvin Coleman. He's probably going to be out this week. Look at that.
They had some comments about that field,
Man.
I think, too. Said that there was something going on with the turf, blamed it for a lot of the lower body injuries.
You can't blame that. I mean, I've never seen one team take so much injury hits like it did, man. God bless it. I mean, look at the Jets. Let's talk about the Jets for a minute.
Man, I don't even the Jets and San Fran. Not much to talk about other than the fact
really.
that some injuries. You got Le'Veon Bell, who's been nothing but a letdown again this year. Already hurt early on, and we said coming in, I think there's a little group chat going on in one of the leagues that we're in as far as fantasy football, and somebody was saying, not a chance Le'Veon has less than 1,500 all-purpose yards or whatever, and you're like, not a chance he does. But either way, I think he was crazy to say that. I still think, to doubt him that he would be so significantly below that, I thought that would be a stretch. But, man, I don't know if we're going to see him much on the field at all. But Frank Gore, maybe the best back there with the Jets. Not a good thing for the Jets. They got Sam Darnold. I'm not a believer. Do you believe in Sam Darnold in New York?
I mean, he's putting up a hell of a fight. He had a good game. He had 250 yards. He made some good passes. It seems like him and Chris Hogan's got a little chemistry going on there.
Pretty good game, 13 points.
Yeah, I mean, the scoreboard don't tell it, but he's trying his best. I mean,
he's not got a lot around him.
The cards are not dealt in his favor, man. To me, I don't think
he's seeing ghosts out there, man.
He's seeing ghosts.
He's seeing ghosts.
Ooh.
The Colts take down the Vikings. Indy 28, Minnesota 11.
I think this is more because Minnesota is just horrible on defense.
Minnesota looks horrible all around, man. You get rid of Stephon Diggs, and that whole damn offense falls apart.
I have never seen a team as much talent as they have. Now, they did lose Anthony Barr for the year. He's gone.
Yeah, that's a big hit for them. I had him on a league, too, because he usually is a tackle machine. Dalvin Cook, still carrying his weight. He's a stud. Maybe the only stud still remaining there other than Adam Thielen. But Kirk Cousins looks
trash.
Terrible.
Trash. I smelt garbage with maggots on top of it. Smelt better than what Kirk Cousins is cooking on the field.
That is rough. That is some tough criticism, Chuck. His stat line, here you go. 30 of 51, 372, 2 touchdowns, 4 picks. Vikings 0-2 on the season, but they're going to be playing the Titans this coming up week.
Well, if we can take care of Cook, we'll be fine. But let's talk about the Colts. It seems like Rodrigo Blankenship is the only offense going for him. He made a ton of kicks this week for him.
Wow, the goggles.
The goggles, right? The Gogs. They call them Gogs.
Good old Gogs. Getting it done for the Colts, racking up those field goals for those guys. I like whenever I can tune in and you see Phillip Rivers just raising hell constantly. He's pulling that helmet off and bitching somebody out on the sidelines.
I never liked him, man.
Classic Phillip Rivers.
So, Rivers had a decent game. I think he had almost 300 yards passing. But at the end of the day, I think they just took advantage of a very lowly Minnesota team that has not even found its identity, which is Dalvin Cook's the only bright spot, the only diamond in a very nasty rock right now, and a very nasty stone, man, especially when you got Kirk Cousins. Jeez.
Not looking good there in Minnesota.
No.
Things are looking good, though, for the Packers. They beat the Lions this week. Green Bay 42, Detroit 21.
I think this was more for Aaron Jones, man. He lit it up. 250 total yards and 3 scores.
That offense can do no wrong.
No. And when I say 250 yards, that's 250 yards total receiving and running the football. I think he had 1 touchdown catch and 2 rushing. He was phenomenal. When you have a running back like that, it makes life as a quarterback and as an offensive coordinator so much better. And it just goes to show you that Green Bay, even though they only have 1 receiver, I don't think even – did Adams play this weekend?
Yeah, Adams played.
But I think he has an injury.
He just didn't have much of a game.
Well, they didn't need him. Jones took over, and they were leading – like almost 21-0 at one point, and it was just off to the races after that. And it's just, I feel like the Green Bay Packers are just another team to be watching out for to compete for an NFC title, man. And Detroit, what can we say about Detroit? Matthew Stafford doing what he can. Marvin Jones had a couple of touchdown catches. But it just seems like Matt Patricia is just going to be another coach to add to the graveyard in Detroit right now, man. It's just, I don't think he's the guy.
Man, I don't know. Yeah, and when you talk about, like, Devontae Adams, you mentioned, only had, 3 catches, 36 yards before he went down with the hamstring injury. That is not, according to what they say on ESPN, not anything crazy serious, but something to monitor. And you never like hamstring injuries, though. Those things can always be reoccurring.
They linger.
You got to take the time to rehab it appropriately before you come back. But hopefully it's nothing too crazy. I've got him in a couple leagues.
Well, they need him, man, because they don't have anybody else. They got Lazard and Scaling, but they're not at the level what Adams is. And to me, if they keep Adams on the field, the Packers have a shot in the NFC. All right, you got another game for me?
The Buccaneers deflated the Panthers by taking out Christian McCaffrey, a big-time loss there for the Panthers. Tampa Bay, 31, Carolina, 17.
But it's just, I feel like Carolina kept it closer for the entire game. And didn't you notice that the Tampa Bay offense was very crisp? They were very crisp this time around. I don't know if it was because it was a lighter defense or what, man, but
the only thing I started, other than Mike Evans in a league, I started O.J. Howard in 2 leagues this week. Went for the tight end play. That's the only position on that team that didn't go off this week because you saw good things coming from both running backs there with Fournette, Ronald Jones, and then like you mentioned, Tom Brady spreading the ball around. He did hit Evans there, and Tom Brady looked pretty good.
He did look pretty good, but I also think that Buccaneers defense stepped up big time. That Winfield, that safety, Antonio Winfield Jr., man, he went off. He had a pick, he had a sack, he had almost 8 tackles. I mean, when you have, and then you also have Levante David, who almost had 10 tackles. You need those key contributors on that defense to really drive that home and give that ball back to that offense.
No, you're right. Levante David, one of the greatest linebackers that has played the game over the last
underrated.
Almost decade now.
He's underrated. I mean, he just played in a bad team for a long time, and now that they're on the under the light now, under the headlights now,
he's going to get a lot more recognition, I think.
Absolutely.
I think he's making that Pro Bowl this year.
Absolutely. Same thing with Winfield in that safety spot. And like I said, Brady played a better game. We saw the emergence of Leonard Fournette. Man, I think he's going to probably start taking over that backfield a little bit more.
Here's how I see it happening a lot. Tom Brady moving the ball up and down that field quite often, right?
Right.
I think Fournette's going to have a lot of options to punch it into the end zone.
Yeah, catching. I mean, he can catch it and he can run it in.
Especially once it starts getting cold, things like that. I think that's where they're going to lean on Fournette a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, that's why they brought him in. He's a big body back, and he can take care of business in the goal line. He's known for it.
You got that right. Then looking at the Bills, they hit the Dolphins with a leg drop through a folding table. Buffalo 31, Miami 28.
Down he goes through the table. Good God, he's got kids, man.
Off the top rope.
But no, man. But Josh Allen, man, I gotta give him props this weekend. He made some damn good throws this weekend. He made good throws to Brown, Diggs. I mean, goodness almighty. Josh Allen's looking like the real deal. He looks like he's the savior that Buffalo's been claiming to for years, man.
417 passing yards this week.
He just looked good, man. Even though it was against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, the Fritz Magic Miami Dolphins.
You know who really looks good, though, for that offense there, too?
Who's that?
Diggs. Stephon Diggs is looking really good. I mean, looking like, again, you take him from Minnesota, they're struggling offensively, to say the least. But then he goes in there with Buffalo, and man, I mean, through 2 games, 16 catches, 239 yards, a touchdown, and that's on 22 targets.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I mean, it just goes to show that when the right acquisition comes along, like, for example, when Mac went to Chicago, that updated that whole entire defense for Chicago and made them so much better. Same thing with Diggs. I think it's just taking this offense to a whole nother level with the Buffalo Bills, and possibly to challenge. They lead the division right now, which don't mean nothing in the East, AFC East, but they've got an offense that can challenge the Patriots.
We're going to see. Then you look what happened in Nashville. The Two-Tone Blue took down the Jags in front of a pretty stiff crowd.
Stiff crowd.
Did you see the cardboard cutouts, Chuck?
I saw
pretty weird to see, right?
I saw Tim McGraw. I saw the mayor of Nashville on there.
Saw Chris Johnson.
Yeah.
I think there was an Eddie George one and a couple other options. They had the Matt Neely ones. I think they had a couple of those.
Did you see on the jersey on Twitter, I think it was LaJuan and another.
And Compton. They rocked the 69 jerseys.
For the boy. I loved it.
Pretty badass, man.
That was cool. But yeah, this game was it shouldn't have been close like it was.
Closer than we wanted it to be, right?
But
too close for comfort.
To me, what I'm happy with is the passing game, man. It's crisp, it's clean. I mean, obviously, the reason it is because Derrick Henry is such a stud that you got to keep an eye on him, but it gives an advantage to Tannehill to have some good-looking passes, and his numbers have not lied, haven't they, Ryan? His numbers look good.
No, I mean, Ryan Tannehill threw 47 of 67, 488 yards, 6 touchdowns. The big thing, 0 interceptions. And he's got 26 yards rushing, too.
It doesn't
a couple
hurt.
first downs.
But like I said, it's just – and plus that supporting cast for the Titans. Humphreys.
Corey Davis stepping up big time. And what about Jonnu Smith?
He is a stud. I said it from the get-go. This dude can be a star. He looked like it Sunday.
Well, and then I just envision, this pass rush, too, defensively. As they get better and better, I think it could be one of the better pass rushes, combinations in the league.
Yeah, actually, I was not happy with the pass rush. I thought it could have been better. First half, it looked good because Minshew, when he was pressured, he threw a pick. We sacked him maybe once or twice, and I was like, all right, that's what I wanted. If we can get that pressure, that secondary does so much better. Vaccaro had a hell of a game.
Oh, Vaccaro played great. He was all over the place.
Yeah.
I trust that Mike Vrabel, he's going to figure out the right chemistry and just the right buttons to push and the right positions to put guys in with some of these blitz combinations and some of these coverage combinations that they run there. The relationship he has with some of these guys and just the way that he comes from New England as a player and some of the things that he's seen with some of the similarities with working with Clowney and Jonathan Joseph there in Houston.
Right.
You've heard a lot of good things come out of the locker room where they love playing for Vrabel. So I think he's going to be able to figure out some good schemes, and I think we can only expect better things out of this defensive unit.
You betcha. I mean,
we need better things out of the secondary.
Christian Fulton got his first interception this week.
Oh, man, he looked good.
I mean, I'm happy.
And they didn't target him much either. That's the thing.
No, man, they stood away from him, man.
He had good coverage.
He did. I mean, it's just I felt like the coverage. It wasn't the coverage's fault per se that Minshew had a good game. I just think in the second half they adjusted, and Tennessee couldn't touch Minshew after that again until my main man Jeffrey Simmons swatted the ball out of the air, and look who's in the neighborhood. Harold Landry picks it off. Game, set, match, and it. Like I said at the beginning, Ryan. We grinded it out, and we got it done.
I was sweating a little bit, man. Minshew wasn't missing much. He's playing good. Not a good team at all, and, that's not a news headline by any means. Jacksonville looks to be tanking, but don't tell that to Gardner Minshew.
He's balling,
and that
man.
Mustache.
He's balling, man. And I'll tell you who else balled. James Robertson, the running back there. He had over 100 yards. He looked good.
Yep. Yeah, I mean – I didn't expect much out of him. Don't know much about him, but that's a good first impression. I mean, he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he had almost 100 yards last week. I mean, that's his backfield to own right now.
We had trouble tackling him.
Yeah,
we saw that.
We did. He's just I think he's like 5'11", 220 pounds, just a little ball of muscle. Just
what about Gostkowski, though, man, for all of his struggles?
Man,
right? To hit 2-game winners.
What a rebound for Gostkowski, man. We needed that so bad. And he made the kick at the end of the half. And he made the kick for the win.
Huge.
That's all it matters, man. Yeah, he struggled last week, but he got it done at the end and got that kick for the win. And he got the kick for a win again. That's what we needed, was a kicker that gets it done. He's been to Super Bowls. He's been to multiple playoffs. And by the time we get to December and January, that's the kicker we want. That's the kicker we need.
And a tradition carries on. Titans beating the Jags.
Yes.
Also, the Bears beat the Giants because, well, somebody had to win that game, right? Chicago 17, New York 13.
Well, Chicago's actually showing some better, grit than they did last year.
2-0 for Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big year for him, and he's showing that he's the guy to have right now. Defense is playing better, but I think the biggest news out in this game was the loss of Saquon Barkley as he tore his ACL.
Huge news, terrible news. No matter if you're a New York fan or not, as a football fan, you like to see guys like that play the game, and you hate to see the injuries that we saw this week. There was a lot to go around, this being one of the biggest ones.
Well, for being fantasy football news, that's some big news, especially if you drafted him in the top 5. There goes your season probably because Dion Lewis is now the head guy right now. In New York right now.
I think they just picked up Devontae Freeman.
Did they just pick him up?
They're going to split carries.
Yeah, I think it'll eventually be Devontae Freeman because he's the better complete back.
Yeah, because, Dion Lewis, I don't think he's an every down back by any means.
Nothing against knocking on the guy.
I like the guy, but, there were times where we definitely fed him too much in this offense where El Tractorcito should have been getting that ball.
A lot, yeah. And you know what? We realized from our mistakes, and we're making sure he's getting plenty of that ball.
Yeah, now there's not much of a running back behind him at all. We just hand him the ball 30, potentially 40 times a game, and I'm happy with that.
That's fine, yeah.
The Cards beat the R words, Arizona 30, Washington 15.
So it's the R words now.
The Washington football team.
That's so funny. But, Arizona has got a deadly offense, very deadly. I mean, ever since they got D-Hop there now, man, DeAndre Hopkins has just lit it up since he's got there. I mean, proving that, you can learn new schemes, you can learn a new offensive playbook and actually do great on the team. And Kyler Murray, balling it. He's playing well.
Man, he's looking pretty good, right? Kyler Murray.
Running the football, passing the football.
For a second-year guy.
Man, I can't wait for Seattle and Arizona game.
A lot of people thought he's too short. Me and you remember back in the day, we got into it, and you were like, there's no way he goes to the NFL.
I thought
Before he
went
declared, you're like,
baseball.
there's not a damn chance he's going to the NFL. I was like, man, I don't know. He's pretty good. The NFL's so alluring because, look, playing baseball is great and all, but if you have a chance to play quarterback in the National Football League, you're going to do it, especially if you're going number 1 overall, right? And he gets to go to a team with a young guy like Cliff Kingsbury, an offensive mind, going to be open to some offensive schemes, and you can see that they're having fun slinging the ball around in Arizona.
They are. It's just like I said, I can't wait for the Seattle and Arizona game. That's going to be wild.
It's going to be a big measuring stick type game, right?
Yeah. I mean,
because I don't know if you can expect a ton out of Arizona. A lot of people with a lot of praise for him, but we're going to see.
So this is a battle between two quarterbacks that were considered too short. That's hilarious.
There's a lot of those guys across the league right now.
So what we call that game? Battle of the Shorties?
Sure.
That's funny.
Sure. But the next game, the Ravens demolished Bill O'Brien's watered-down Texans, Baltimore 33, Houston 16.
They never had a chance, man. They
never had a chance. No, offensive line troubles. The Texans just didn't look good in this game, not at any point. Baltimore cruised.
Yeah, I mean, Baltimore pretty much Cobra Kai'd them and got him a body bag, man. It was just from the get-go. I mean, Watson, again, running for his life, man. He can't – this offensive line is horrible. Just absolutely atrocious. The last 2 games, yes, quality opponents, but you figure you would learn from your first mistake and fix some mistakes with your offensive line? No. I mean – Watson's going to end up getting hurt. Fuller was nowhere to be found, no catches. Brandon Cooks was pretty much the only receiving threat they had. The defense for Houston is not good. Granted, they played, like I said, 2 quality opponents. And, of course, Lamar Jackson doing Lamar things, getting 300 yards passing, running the football all over this defense. What more can I say, Ryan? I mean, Houston may be looking for a new coach at the end of the season.
I mean, I wouldn't say that's much of a stretch. Bill O'Brien's got a lot of convincing to do to keep that job. But, it's 2 weeks in, maybe a little bit of an overaction,
Who knows?
Only time will tell there.
Granted.
The next game, the Chiefs looked like crap for about, 3 quarters of football. But they hung around, beat the Chargers in overtime. Kansas City 23, L.A. 20.
Well, it's just the L.A. team, the Chargers are actually better than a lot of people give them credit for. The defense is good. The offense has got hell of a weapons. I mean, they got just Hunter Henry at tight end. They got Keenan Allen, and you also have Eckler in the backfield. But they changed the quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor had a freak chest, like his chest was hurting. They set him out, brought in the rookie Justin Herbert in, and he balled, man. 330 yards, man, for this guy.
What I see, 22 of 33 for 311.
Well, 311.
Right, but a touchdown, a pick. But he looked good. I mean, they didn't have time to study or really prepare to play Herbert. That aside, Herbert got thrust into the role, and he played pretty well. It looked like they were going to win that game for a while.
Yeah, I mean, for a while. But, like you said, you can only keep that offensive down. If you don't close it out, that team is going to beat you. Plain and simple. Like if you give Patrick Mahomes an opportunity to tie it or win it, he's going to do it 99% of the time.
Do you? What did you think of Herbert? Are you a Herbert believer now? And do you think when Tyrod's healthy that he comes back and plays, or do you think Herbert will go ahead and take this job and run with it?
Anthony Lynn has already come out and has said that Taylor is the starter if he's healthy.
What if Herbert comes in this next game and goes off for 300 more yards, throws some touchdowns, wins the game? What's going to happen then?
He commented like a reporter said, well, he had a good game. He's like, but did he win us the game? No, he did not. Last time I checked, we lost. I was like, that's a little harsh, dude.
And how long is the leash going to be on Tyrod too when he comes back?
He should be on the bench because to me, I would start Herbert.
I like Tyrod, and
I
he's a
do
good veteran
too.
presence. It just depends on, what are the Chargers looking to do? Do you think that they obviously think they're competitors?
Well, it's just
They got good weapons offensively.
That's what I'm saying. Which quarterback did better for this offense? It's obviously Herbert. It made Eckler better. It made Keenan Allen better. It made Hunter Henry better. It made this offense as a whole better.
We'll see. Looks like he's going to get at least one more game to show that.
I think so. They're saying Tyrod may sit out one more game.
Okay.
So maybe.
Okay.
We'll see.
Then you had the Battle of Ohio. This was the Thursday night game. The Browns took it this time over the Bengals. The last 2 years, number one overall. Scratch that. But 2 number one overall picks regardless. Joe Burrow playing for the Bengals. Baker Mayfield playing for the Browns. And look, Cleveland looked pretty good in this one, but a lot of offense there from Cincy. But yeah, Cleveland 35, Cincy 30.
Yeah, don't forget about Chubb, man. Man, Cleveland chubbed everybody in fantasy because I'm pretty sure everybody was ready to abandon ship on Chubb.
When
Nick
you say
Chubb.
everybody, at least you did.
I did. I traded him off, man. It's just Hunt is just another back that they got to feed. I didn't want to be part of that committee. Sure enough, when I traded him off, I saw the numbers. I'm like, geez, Louise, I just got chubbed.
Who did you trade him for?
I think I got like Miles Sanders and Chalk out of Jacksonville.
You still feeling good about it?
I do. I mean, there's 2 quality starters for one and a number 3 receiver I had to
It
give
depends
up.
on what you need, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's true. But I just needed the depth, and I just felt like Chubb. I mean, he had the one game against the Cincy who defense is not, as far as the front 7 goes, stopping the run. They didn't stop the run all night. I think they had like almost 300 yards rushing, man.
But what about, overall, week 2 of the NFL schedule? What a badass weekend of football.
It was great.
Oh, man, how great. My favorite game of the weekend was the late game, too. That Seattle game. Seattle, New England. What a phenomenal matchup, man.
Yeah, obviously we're going to say, we're glad to see the Titans win, but as far as like football fans, I think we can agree on that the Seahawks and Patriots game was a blast.
Oh, yeah, and then just the craziness to watch the Atlanta-Dallas game and say, which guy's going to blow it here? Which team's going to blow it? Because you knew one of them had to do it. And then you see Atlanta get that lead, Dallas looking like crap. Atlanta found a way.
Atlanta found a way. I mean, just when you thought 28-3 was hilarious, they just added a new chapter of how to choke.
That's right, man.
They
But
did.
a great overall week 2. Looking forward to week 3. As we go in to week 3, Chuck, what were 5 fantasy takeaways from week 2 for you?
For me, I'll just start at the top. Number 1, it's time to wheel and deal. It's time to make trades, time to look at waiver wires. As you know, the weekend was filled with injuries. Like you said, it was a badass weekend. But, man, the injuries piled up higher than I've ever seen. It's time to hit that waiver wire, time to look at some value, some trades, and really get settled in for the season.
Lots of trades going around out there. I've had a
Right.
few already. I've got a couple of feelers already out there in a couple of leagues right now, too. Kind of, seeing things early and, just you got to see what the landscape looks like, right? But, yeah, definitely time to start wheeling and dealing. That leads into my number 1, too, similar, where I said one of my fantasy takeaways from week 2, the waiver wire games, they're beginning now, for
Let
sure.
the games begin, man. And, man, be a Ric Flair, man, this week. And kiss, stealing, wheeling, dealing. Got to get it done. Got to get this player on my team. Woo! Got to get her done. So, with number 2, 2 and 3 are kind of connected for me here. Kind of polar opposites. Number 2, I think Gardner Minshew is a QB1 from here on in. Period. Because he balled out last week against the Colts. Supposedly a decent defense with the Colts. They come into us, they play us, and he balled out well too. 330 yards, man. I mean, he averaged almost 300 yards the last 2 weeks.
He's got 512, total of 512 through 2 weeks of 6 TDs and 2 picks.
I think it's safe to say, Ryan, that he's a QB1 from here on in.
We'll see. Time will tell. But, man, look, Minshew, the one bright spot down there for Jacksonville right now.
Right. What's your number 2?
My number 2, don't panic on your lineup right before games lock. And I'll give you a specific example of me. Right before the games locked Sunday morning, I had Jonnu Smith in my lineup, tight end position, bench him. Right before the game, you know how I put in there? O.J. Howard.
God bless you, son.
You know how that worked out, right? And then
I did.
I loved every second of what Jonnu did for the Titans. And from a fantasy perspective, you're just like, why? You trust your gut. I have a rule typically 5 minutes before kickoff. I will not adjust my schedule unless there's an immediate need, injury,
Right.
A healthy scratch, anything like that. Don't panic on your lineup right before games lock.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I've been a victim of that too, especially when you got two players that have the similar scoring and you're thinking, God, which one should I go with? Make the decision right, like on a Wednesday, the Thursday before the Thursday night game. That's what I do. I was like, all right, I'm going to go with this, sticking with it unless he gets hurt, period. Just got to stick with that. Number 3, like I said with Gardner Minshew being number QB1, Drew Brees has been a long time QB1 for over a decade, at least a decade. He is no longer in the conversation for QB1.
I think that's a week 2 overreaction.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, I think Brees is he's obviously still a top QB in the league, but week 2 that offense looked discombobulated, and he was the main part. That seemed to be the loose wheel on that offense. Honestly, things just didn't seem to be going their way. But I think it's definitely an overreaction. That offensive line's gonna have to step up. Drew Brees, gonna have to step up himself a little bit, and I think that he will.
I think he's just not a QB1 no more. It's just, even if Michael Thomas comes back, you can just see with age he's regressing.
I just think that just shows the value of Michael Thomas. Depending
Right.
on those other targets out there, he's leaps and bounds above everybody else on that team as far as wide receivers, tight ends, anybody, that he has to throw to.
Exactly. Ryan, what you got for your number 3?
Buy low, trade high, right?
All right.
You can apply that to business. You can apply that to fantasy football, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Look at your values, man. You got to look at what's valued high and what's valued low. I mean, we're in a point now, we're entering week 3. That's when trades are fixing to get really hot.
That's right, man. I mean, you got to start evaluating guys, right? Number 1 ranked player coming into this year, fantasy-wise, all around. Christian McCaffrey, I think that's unargued. I traded him in a league today. He's hurt for a couple weeks. Needed some depth on the team, so pulled in 3 legitimate starters in that one. And you got to start looking at some of those guys like that, Look, get what you can out of some of those guys, but don't get carried away at the same time. You still want, to keep around some of those folks, but you can start evaluating and seeing your depth chart and seeing, look, where are my holes? Look, I needed a tight end in that team, and that's one of those positions that I filled there.
Agreed. I like where you're going with that, Ryan, because I'm a trade guy. I love trading. Trading is like the part of like eating, breathing. It's a part of fantasy football. It makes you really test your knowledge as far as like looking at the values of players and stuff and see the progression or the regression as the week goes on, and it makes you really pay attention other than just picking up players and setting lineups. I like it.
Right. Well, I mean, and I've had several folks, too, in some of these keeper leagues and dynasty leagues that I've done that I've held on to for a season or two too long. Look, that's not going to be the case with Christian McCaffrey. But when you can bring in young, proven starters, 3 of those for one guy, in a draft pick,
you got to do what you got to do.
Got to pull the trigger on
it. And
man.
plus, that other first-round pick could be another rookie running back like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire next year. You never know.
That's the gamble that you take. But typically, in that specific league, usually my first-round pick's right at the end of the round. Anyways, not worried about that.
Not worried about that.
Buy low, trade high. When it comes to trading, you got to know, the value for your team.
Like I said, test your knowledge, man. You got to really be sharp when it comes to that. Steelers. This is my number 4. Steelers offense can actually be trusted again.
You trust them?
I do. I mean, you got Big Ben, who's averaging almost 300 yards a game.
Is he a trustworthy guy?
Well, fantasy-wise, he is.
On the field, at least.
On the field, I don't know the guy. I'm just saying on fantasy, Juju Smith-Schuster's starting to show some promise again. You got the Johnson kid, Deontay Johnson, who is just playing well.
We mentioned James Conner playing great,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now it seems like
shaking off that injury.
it may be not the killer bees offense that we're used to, but as fantasy relevancy goes along, we're starting to trust some of them players now where we can actually set them and start them in our lineups. So to me, the Steelers offense, it's not fully back, but it's starting to look like, hey, I can start Big Ben this week and actually be a decent matchup.
They're playing good, and it's going to be interesting to see how Ben and Juju continue to grow together, too, because he's thrown his way 14 times. Juju Smith-Schuster's hauled in 13 of those for 117 and 2 touchdowns through 2 weeks. So, not eye-popping numbers, but I think we're going to see a lot better numbers from both of those guys going forward.
It's consistency. That's why I look for in fantasy. Yeah, it's great to have the week when you blow up and stuff, but if you get that fantasy player like Juju Smith-Schuster that averages the, like for me, for PPR, if he averages 15, 16 points a week, that's a good week for me for a receiver. That's a very good week.
Man, you're right. My number 4, the Browns offense this week gave fantasy owners a chub, unless you traded him away like old Chuck here.
You're really trying to get me hot and bothered, are you?
Man, look, the Browns looked good. Odell took the top off the defense on one of those, and I think as you get the ball moving for him and Landry, I think, that's obviously one of the better wide receiver duos in the league when they can, stop all the bickering and stuff and go out there and play ball. Look,
right.
Hands down, they can put up some numbers.
I just think this was a product of a weaker team in front of them. We'll see. I mean, Chubb.
Yeah, for sure. They're playing the Bengals. But at the same time, look, they had to go out there and score points. They did.
Yeah, I mean, there was one throw between him, Baker, and Odell. That was a hell of a throw.
Hell of a throw. But Nick Chubb, man, went off, and it was just like, well, yeah, I forced a trade through for you and Marcus in one of our leagues.
He begged for it. I didn't, man.
Yeah, he needed Chubb. Hey, look, if I was getting Chubb, I'd have done the same. I don't know why you didn't offer. I would have gave you probably a little bit more.
He offered me. I wasn't looking to trade him. I was like, I'm just going to sit him this week because I don't feel comfortable playing him after last week with Hunt taking some of his touches.
And you had that bad feeling after week 1. He was able to pry him out of there.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it now? You still feel good about the trade?
I do.
There
I'm
you
happy
go. That's what matters.
I'm happy about it. I mean, was I bummed that when I saw him get like 150 yards and a touchdown? Yeah, I'm bummed. But Hunt did too. He had all over 100 yards too. So,
hey, look, man, I come into the season, though, and in a couple leagues, fantasy-wise, I invested in the Browns offense where I could because I think they're going to be pretty good.
I'd rather, invest in Odell Beckham and stuff because it seems like Landry is nowhere to be seen right now.
I think he's the possession guy. I think once they start moving that ball around, he's going to play a big part, too, though.
Well, we'll see.
They're going to need him to.
Yeah, they're going to definitely need him to. Hooper's got to show up, man. Where the hell's he at? There's no Njoku there. He's on IR. Where the hell is Hooper? That's all I got to say, man. They spent a lot of money to get him there.
Fantasy owners drafted him pretty high in a lot of leagues.
I didn't want nothing to do with the tight ends there. You got Njoku. You had the Harrison kid, rookie kid.
The younger guy, Njoku, he had asked for a trade, so I thought, look, if you're getting Hooper, he may be the sole tight end there for the tight end number 1 job, and so far, both those guys still on the roster.
Well, either way, it worked out because he's on IR, and Njoku's on IR, and Hooper should be taking advantage, and he's not. I
think we can see more there.
We could. So since we're on the tight end subject, I'm going to go with my number 5. Darren Waller and Jonnu Smith are the best tight ends in the league fantasy-wise right now. Am I saying they're better than Kelsey and Kittle? No. But you look at what they're doing right now, their body of work in the first 2 weeks, they're the best in the league right now.
Yeah, we didn't see Kittle play in week 2, and I think we can expect him back in week 3. A lot of other great tight ends around the league. Ertz, but we've talked that offense.
And Kelsey,
not great. But look, Waller and Smith both playing great. Jonnu Smith, I love to see the progression he's had. I think there was some kind of quote, and it's not going to be exact here, but he had told a reporter here recently that, look, man, this is the first time he's had a chance as the starter. He's ready to go off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you have Waller, who is a target hog down at Las Vegas, man. He had 16 looks at him, man. I mean, 16 for a tight end, that's a lot. I don't care who you are. And then you got Jonnu Smith. Yeah, he may not get the yards and the targets maybe like Waller does, but he is the absolute red zone threat. Like, he is a touchdown target almost every time. He's got 3 touchdowns already in the league, and that is one of the tops in fantasy football. So, to me, these two, as the season goes along, if it continues, nobody gets hurt, we could damn well see both of these players in the top 5, if not the top 2 in the league.
I hope you're right.
I mean, for Gianno Smith's sake, I hope I'm right too.
Number 5 for me, here's one from Captain Obvious, right? Offensive lines matter.
Yeah.
For example, Philly, Houston, Atlanta, the New York Giants. You're seeing the struggles that those teams are having. When it comes to fantasy-wise, you got to look at guys that have good offensive lines. I think this is a common sensor, but it's something that you're seeing front and center through 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, look at what for example, a good line is supposed to do. Look at the Seahawks. Russell Wilson's not hardly been touched.
That offensive line stepped up big time, and they've adapted the way I feel like that those guys play based on the way that Russell Wilson does. And you can say that about that whole offense.
Right. I mean, it's like I'm not saying all offensive lines have great weeks, week in, week out. You have off weeks, but it's been obviously apparent that Philly and Houston lead the way as far as bad offensive line play.
Right.
Bad.
And Dallas has been underwhelming from the amount of talent on that offensive line. But, look, you can expect more out of them, and you're still seeing good numbers from those guys down there in Dallas. It's not like you're benching those guys. But offensive line play matters, and I think that it's very important when you factor that into who you have starting for your team week in and week out when it comes to fantasy football. And, again,
I totally agree with you. Because of the Houston, because I got Watson, Fuller, and I've got Brandon Cooks on the sideline.
Ooh.
And, man, I'm almost to the point I'm fixing to trade them off.
It was a tough week for you, man.
It was a very tough week. And that's just me picking a division opponent for me. Wow. No comment, but all I'm saying is Houston's got a lot of problems because of the offensive line. Now let's start another one. Let's start another segment here. Okay or oh boy. Now, what this segment is, we're going to talk about the rough starts of some of these NFL teams that are going through. We're going to decide if we'll pick a team. We'll decide if they're okay for right now or if it's like, oh, boy, it's going to be a long season.
Let's do it. Let's hit them.
All right, let's do the first one. The Philadelphia Eagles. Just been abysmal.
Oh, boy.
You think, oh, boy?
Oh, boy.
Just absolutely abysmal.
Wow.
I'm going to say they're okay for now because of the division they play in.
How do you see this team rebounding?
I just see it because of the coaching. I think Peterson will get it figured out. Miles Sanders is finally coming back into the offense after being injured week 1. I feel like Wentz is not going to be down for long. He's too good of a quarterback to be down. They paid a lot of money for this guy. They paid a lot of money for the coaching.
I don't like what I'm seeing, man. When it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, if you're an Eagles fan, I'd be very concerned.
I am concerned, but I'm like, it's 2 weeks in. We can get it turned around. We play in a weak division. There's still a chance.
What do you think about the Falcons?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, man.
A lot of weapons on that offense, and you've seen a lot of statistics coming out of that offense, but a lot of them in garbage time.
That's what concerns me about this team. They're probably one of the best offenses in the league. Best receiving core in the league.
On paper?
On paper. But on the field, Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones are 2 of the best receiving duos in the league right now. With Cage as a third wheel, that can get 100 yards.
Todd Gurley in the backfield?
He's been so-so.
He's played pretty good. I think they need to get him more involved for sure, but we all know, looking back at that 28-3 fiasco from the Super Bowl with New England, they don't know when to run the football.
They don't know when to run the football. It just goes back to game planning. I think this is more on the coaching staff than it is the players. They were pedal to the metal. They made them turn over the ball 3 times. The defense actually played well for Atlanta. Turn over the ball 3 times. They get up 21-0. But when you saw the score 21-0, did you have a feeling maybe it's like this game is far from over?
Oh yeah, with both of these bonehead teams.
You never know.
You never know. And the ultimate bonehead play, we mentioned that onside kick. How crazy was that? But Chuck, what do you think about the Minnesota Vikings?
Oh boy. Oh,
You're
boy.
real concerned about Kirk Cousins,
I'm real
Dalvin
concerned.
Cook, and the Vikings out
Absolutely.
there. Zimmer.
Well, that defense is in bad shape, man. That secondary, man, is getting carved up every which
Bar
way.
goes down, and the defense has already been getting torched.
I mean, you had you made Phillip Rivers look like a star out there, and he's not played well.
Harrison Smith had been a staple in that defense for a while. He's battled some injuries. He's not at 100%.
No, he's not at 100%. And you ain't got the same defensive stars that you use like Griffin, Hunter, the two defensive line studs right
They're
there.
missing a lot, but I think they're missing Diggs mostly.
I thought it's probably the biggest void they miss. And then
Cut
you also,
Treadwell too. You thought when they drafted Treadwell out of Ole Miss that he was going to do big things there too, but nope.
Yeah, I agree.
Already cut him.
I mean, it didn't work out, but it just seemed like, I don't know. It's just, and plus Kirk Cousins playing like trash right now. Cook's the only thing going, and that's not going to be enough, especially in a division where the Packers are just ripping it up.
Score update. Speaking of playing like trash, LA down right now 77-93 with 11:24 left in the fourth.
Well, I don't want to get up ahead, but I think Denver's finally found that niche to get it back in the series a little bit.
We'll see. We'll see.
Well, we'll see.
To get back on track, Chuck, the San Francisco 49ers, are you very concerned about those guys?
I'm a very okay.
What does that mean?
Well, meaning I have a very nervous okay.
Nervous. Got a little bit nervous when you look at the Niners and their chances to do something this year. Garoppolo's hurt.
Yeah.
You saw a lot of the other injuries coming out of there.
And what worries me is this division race is just got even tougher.
It's tough.
That's why I have a nervous okay, because I think this team is capable. I think Kittle's supposed to come back. I think McKinnon's very capable. This receiving core can be good. I think the defense will still be okay. But when you have a division that the Rams are picking up steam, the Seahawks are on top of the world right now, and hell, the Cardinals, man, are looking good. I have a very nervous okay. I'm going to say okay for now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do this later. I say, oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, oh boy, because I don't think the Niners make the playoffs this year. And that's, you could say overreaction through 2 weeks. Coming into the preseason, I didn't expect a ton out of those just based on the games that they would have to win this year to be in the spot they want to be in the postseason. I don't think they can get it done, but we're going to see. What do you think about the Texans?
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Like lights are flashing. Houston, we have a freaking problem. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Bill O'Brien's about to start making some more calls. He's ready to start opening up the trade books.
If I am the front office of Houston, I'm telling that boy to shut the hell up. He doesn't know what he's talking about, man.
Do you think Bill O'Brien makes it through midseason?
He will, but I think they'll finish like 6-10, 7-9. They'll fire him.
Okay.
I feel that's my prediction.
I think the Houston Texans should definitely be concerned as well. How about the Browns? We talked about that. It looks like that offense was rolling against Cincy. Do you think they'll continue that up, or do you think that there's reason for concern in Cleveland?
I will say this because I know every Cleveland fan has said this for the past 20 years. Oh boy, I'm just going to say, oh boy here. Yes, a good win. They needed the win to bounce back from a horrible loss against Baltimore, but that's just it. You're playing in a division where Pittsburgh is playing well. You didn't need to see that, but we'll see how they do in the matchup against Pittsburgh. But I feel like this is Pittsburgh's and Baltimore's division to fight for, and I just don't see Cleveland slipping in to get it.
Okay. I think that, they're definitely going to have to prove a lot. The Steelers, like you mentioned, and they're playing the Ravens as far as that goes there in that division too. I think the offense is going to put up a lot. We're going to see the defense going to be tested there too. I don't know, man. I'm not panicking on them. I think they're going to be okay.
You're going to say okay for right now?
I think okay. Against my better judgment, right? What about the Denver Broncos, Chuck?
Oh, boy. I mean,
Yeah, man. You got to be concerned for those guys. And I mean, just the injuries you've seen pile up. go ahead and just chalk it up as an L and get ready for next year, right?
I believe so. What about the Dallas Cowboys?
Man, look, it's hard to tell. I would say that they'll be okay just based on the talent level on that team. Again, when you look at it on paper, good offensive line.
Right.
Tremendous, group of receivers they've got down there too, including the tight ends. And the running game. You got Zeke, man. You got Dak, who's playing great. Defensively, they need help.
They do. I feel like they're okay as far as the division race, but oh boy, for the rest of the NFC. If I could do that, if I could use that. Because when you got the Seahawks that are playing well, you ain't going to stand a damn chance.
But, look, Dallas gets to play twice, right? Philly, Washington, New York Giants. And we've talked about those teams and the issues that they're having. So
that's what I'm saying. It's okay because of the division, but when they get in the playoffs, it's old boy from there.
Oh, yeah. Well, typically for Dallas.
Yeah.
As of late, right?
Right, Ryan. So with that being said, let's roll into week 3. We got some predictions and some breakdown for it. Thursday night football. The Dolphins are going across the road. They're going down to they're going up to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. So it is Fitzmagic, the beard versus the mustache. Minshew. That'd be a fun game.
Quite the battle of facial hair in this one. And it looks like the line that you have here, as it said, at -3, I'd imagine Jacksonville favored in this one?
Yes.
Okay. Looks like a snooze fest. I would pick Jacksonville in this one. I don't think we're going to see Tua yet, but man, look, if you're Miami, just go ahead and put Tua in there.
I would. That'd be fun. I think that'd be better. Tua versus Minshew.
You got to monitor the hip and all that stuff, but look, if he's healthy, throw him in, man.
Throw him in. Now, the over and under is 47.5. What you got?
Under.
Okay. Las Vegas at New England. So the Patriots are 6-point favorites, which rightfully so, but Las Vegas is going to come in with some momentum.
Raiders looked good. They're playing at New England when the line's at -6. Look, give me the Pats. I like what I'm seeing from the Pats. I like what I'm seeing from Cam Newton. And we're going to see, if Sony Michel can do more from the running back position. But regardless, look, I like what I see out of the Pats.
I do too. I agree with you. But especially they're going to face a tougher defense. Definitely. So Las Vegas could be facing their first loss. Over and under is 46.5. I'm going to say under.
Bet the over on this one.
You think so?
Bet the over, man.
All right. Not bad. All
46.5. I think so. Between the Pats and the Raiders. Look, I could very easily see that going down too, I guess. With a lot of running game back and forth, a lot of punts. I don't think it's going to go that way. I think we're going to see a lot of scoring like we've seen from a lot of these other games here.
Now, usually, if it was in the Dome in Las Vegas, I probably would say so, but with it being up in New England.
Foxborough?
Yeah. So I'm going to say under.
All right.
Las Vegas Rams, they're hot right now, but they're also playing a hot team this weekend in Buffalo. So the Buffalo Bills are 2.5 favorites, and the over and under is 47.5.
That's right. You meant the L.A. Rams playing at the Buffalo Bills, and a 9-point line on that one. Bills favored in this one?
Bills are favored 2.5.
Bills are favored 2.5. My apologies. I was about to say that would be ridiculous with a 9-point spread on this one, but Bills favored by 2.5. You know what? Bet the Rams.
You're going to go with the Rams.
Bet the Rams.
I'm going to say Josh Allen here, man. The dude is balling out, looking good with Diggs and company, man. I'm going to say they win. I'm going to say over on the over and under.
Okay.
I can see a little shootout happening here. The Houston Texans will go up to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers. The Steelers are 3.5 favorites with the over and under being 45.
Bet the Steelers, bet the over.
Bet the over. I'm going to say the same. San Francisco 49ers will go to New York. Will stay in New York because they played the Jets. Now they're going to be playing the Giants. The 49ers are 4.5-point favorites, and the over and under is 41.
Man, I would want to stay away from this one altogether, but if I had to pick one, look, I think I would go with the Giants here.
Well, they're going back on the same field where they just lost a ton of players, so they're going to lose more. Should I bet the over and under how many players?
But look what happened to the Niners last week, too.
That's what I'm saying. The 49ers are going back on the same field that they lost a lot of players.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, man. And, they're going to have that in the back of their heads, too. Giants going to be throwing the ball a lot, you would think, with Saquon out. So that's one reason if you've got Tate in leagues, I would think about starting in
Tate,
this week too.
Shepard, Evan, Ingram,
Ingram too, yeah, even though he was a bit of a letdown last week as well. But yeah, I think I would bet the Giants in this one, but I would also bet the under when it comes to 41.
I'm going to make my own over as far as injuries. 3 players. I'm going to bet the over.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
Hope not, man. We can't bet on
I'm
that.
just saying this field is trash, what everybody's saying. All right, let's switch over. The Tennessee Titans will travel on the road to play the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings are coming off an abysmal start of 0-2, but the Titans are flying high with 2-0. The Titans are 2.5-point favorites with a 47.5 over and under. What do you got, Ryan?
With the way the offense is rolling for the Titans, and the amount of points we've been giving up, and you see the Vikings, look, that defense has looked pretty rough, right?
Right.
About as useful as a cheesecloth condom, and I think the Titans going to spray all over the field too. Bet the over 47.5. Bet your money on the Titans.
Bet your money on the Titans. I'm going to go John Gruden here, man. I'm going to say it like this. The Tennessee Titans have a monster in the backfield. He wears number 22. And I think we're going to see Henry Cito, man, that big train, toot-toot, go run all over them Minnesota Vikings, man. So I'm going to say the Titans will meet the spread, meet the over and under, and we will see, and this is a guarantee, 150 yards from Henry.
Oh, man, I hope you're right. Got him in a few leagues, too. And just as a Titans fan, you love to see 22 get that momentum going.
He is bound to blow up. He's as much as the rock he gets, there's going to be one defense that's going to expect Ryan Tannehill. He's going to make
He's going to start
pay.
cracking them loose, and I think that's going to start right here against Minnesota.
Absolutely. Next game, the Washington football team, the R-word team, at the Cleveland Browns.
7-point spread over under on this one, 44 according to the list here. Put your money on the Browns. I think they can win by more than a touchdown against Washington. I would probably go with the under, even though you're excited about the Browns offense. Can Washington put up enough points to hit that over in this one? I don't like betting unders. It's never any fun, but if I had to bet it, I would go under on this one.
All right, I'm going to say Washington meets it. I think they beat them. I think they beat Cleveland, and it will be an over. I think it'll be a shootout.
Haskins and them get it done, huh?
I think Haskins and them get it done. It'll be about a 60-point game between the both of them.
Ooh, not a lot of defense being played.
Well, a lot of defense didn't play last week, and I can see it being the same thing. So we also got another game. Cincinnati Bengals will travel to the Philadelphia Eagles, a.k.a. somebody's got to win the game here.
Absolutely. Who's favored in this one? Philly?
Philly, 6.5.
Take the man, I don't know. Do you bet on the rookie quarterback in Game 3 with the Bengals at Philly? I would be more excited about that bet watching that game for sure. I think I would bet Cincy over Philly if the line's at 6.5 favoring Philly here.
All right, and the over and under is 45.5.
Under.
Okay. As much as I want to say Joe Burrow gets the win, gets his first career win, I'm going to say the Eagles rebound.
Guess what, though? They throw the ball a ton in Cincinnati right now, mainly because they've been trailing. But through 2 weeks, Joe Burrow's thrown the most passes in the NFL, 97 passes he's thrown. He's attempted. He's completed 60 of those, so not great, right?
Right.
Not great. 509 yards, 3 touchdowns, only 1 pick, though, so far. And he's got a touchdown on the ground, 65 yards rushing as well. So, Joe Burrow, you're seeing the promise. That offense has got a long way to go, man. He's going to have to get the ball. He's been trying to get the ball to A.J. Green as well. I was surprised when I saw this stat, right? So, when you look at A.J. Green, he's been targeted 22 times. He's caught 8 of those for 80 yards, no touchdowns.
Well, at least he wants to go to him. And Tyler Boyd's not really. It's showed a lackluster performance as well. Now, Uzma, the tight end, is gone for the year with an Achilles tear.
Yeah, I mean, another loss there. But John Ross getting involved a little bit. Can you expect more out of him, you think?
Well,
do you think he'll play a role in this game?
Yes, because Uzma is not there, and there's got to be a security blanket, whether it be Green, Bird, or Ross. It's going to be one of them.
How did you call this one? Cincy, Philly?
I'm going to say Philly.
Philly and over-under?
We'll go under. Now, we got the Chicago Bears going up against the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are favored 3.5, and the over and under is 47.5.
Wow, looks like another crapper of a game here, but 10.5 points, man. That's a lot, especially.
Wrong one. 3.5. 3.5.
3.5. Okay, got a mistype here.
Right. Do I? Or are you looking at the wrong one? You're looking at the New York Jets and at the Indianapolis.
In my head here, I'm sorry, Chuck.
You're good,
the
man.
Bears at the Falcons.
Bears at the Falcons. That's what we're
3.5. Oh, okay. What do you got on this one, Chuck? Go ahead. Get me back in line.
I'm going to say the Philadelphia Eagles, I want to say they win, but this team is not guaranteed. They face a little stiffer defense that they probably faced all year.
Did you say the Philadelphia Eagles?
No, they face the Chicago Bears defense, who is a stiffer defense. They got a good pass rush, but it's all going to be relying on Mitch Trubisky, what he does. Is David Montgomery going to play? Is Cohen going to play receiver? Hell, is Cordell Patterson going to be the running back? I mean, a lot of uncertainty, but I think the Atlanta Falcons do not make me eat my words, you bastards, will get the win, take care of business, meet the over. It'll be over. I think it'll be high scoring, and we'll meet the spread.
Same. I think you bet on Atlanta, you take the over.
All right, now to the 10-point one.
10.5 points, the Jets and the Colts.
If there's one I would bet against, it's the spread. I bet against this one.
Putting your money on Darnold and the Jets?
Yes. I don't think the Indianapolis Colts will get 10 points. It'll probably be a touchdown.
That seems tough to do, but it also seems tough to bet on the Jets at all, too. I'm betting the under with the lines at 44 even on this one. I just don't see either one of these teams totaling that as far as combined. But 10.5.
That's a good one to bet against.
Gosh, that seems so high. But I would take the Colts if I had to pick.
You take the Colts. Okay.
I don't like anything I see from the Jets right now. Maybe they can change my mind.
Do you see them hitting the spread, though, 10.5?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they have to if I'm taking that pick.
I don't see them hitting it. I see them winning by a touchdown, not by 10 points.
Maybe. We're going to find out.
We are. The Detroit Lions will travel to the desert and play the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are favored 5.5 points with a 54.5 over and under.
With this one, I'm going to take the Cardinals. Don't like what I see up there in Detroit. I think they're going to need a new head coach. Patricia, not the answer up there. And I think he just keeps getting bigger and bigger every game, man. He looks like he needs a treadmill.
Well, they're probably going to have to dig a bigger hole out in the desert because I feel like if it gets bad enough, they probably won't let him come back on the plane. They'll bury him out in the desert.
Yeah, so I'm picking Arizona when it comes to a 5.5 point spread there. Also, I think I take the over because both these teams are going to be throwing the shit out of the ball. 54.5 though is the over under here.
Ooh, that's high.
I'm still taking it. I'm taking it. Now we also what do you think of this one, Chuck? Detroit, Arizona.
I think it'll be high scoring. Matthew Stafford, will throw the daylights out of the ball. And you also got that offense on the other side of the ball that that Detroit does not stand a chance in hell of stopping. I'm going to say the Cardinals will get the over and beat the spread.
Okay. And we skipped this one, I think, right?
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Chargers. 7.5 point spread, 44 points as far as the over under.
Ooh.
As of right now.
Ooh.
What do you think on that one, Chuck?
I wouldn't be surprised if Carolina Panthers. It depends who's the quarterback.
Without McCaffrey?
Well, it depends who's the quarterback. If it's Hubert, they win. If it's Tyrod Taylor, they lose.
I think you trust Teddy Two Gloves here too.
Yeah, I mean,
Panthers favored in this one, 7.5.
No, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Definitely put your money on the Panthers. 7.5 points you're getting.
Yeah.
Panthers over.
Yes. All right. I like that. Probably quote unquote upset of the week, but Teddy Two Gloves has actually had a quiet stellar season that nobody's talking about.
Late round draft pick in a lot of my leagues, Robbie Anderson. That's paying off right now. I hope that chemistry keeps getting better.
Well, it's just going to depend who's at Mike Davis. That's going to be the running back for the Carolina
Panthers. That's the pickup of the week. That's where everybody's going after right now, right?
He may not be as fast or as freakishly athletic as McCaffrey is, but he can still catch out of the backfield, and he is a ball of muscle.
He's pretty good. And, again, that's the waiver wire pickup probably of the week, right?
Yeah, that's a big one. Him and Dion Lewis is. I'd rather go with Mike Davis.
Maybe Devontae Freeman, too.
Well, yeah,
I would
Freeman.
take Davis over both those guys.
Freeman be the big one. Tampa Bay will travel to Mile High to play the Denver Broncos. Tampa Bay is favored 6 points.
Tampa Bay over.
Tampa Bay over.
Sorry to cut you off. Yeah,
No, you're
Tampa
good,
Bay
you're good.
over, Denver decimated. I don't see them standing a chance in this one. If the line's only at 6, I'm surprised it's only at 6.
Yeah.
And 43.5 over Tampa Bay, for sure.
Yeah, I think the defense for Tampa Bay will do well, and I think they'll almost shut them out at this point. When you got Driscoll at quarterback, God bless them.
I think I'd have to be a mile high to bet on Denver in this game.
Yeah, way mile high. You got to go higher. But Dallas Cowboys will face the Seattle Seahawks. Probably the matchup of the week. The Seattle Seahawks, 4.5 favorites, 55.5 over and under.
In Seattle, still no fans, I think, right? So that home field advantage that they lose there, big time, but not enough to stop me from betting on Seattle over Dallas here, especially, and going ahead and smashing the over 55.5.
Yeah, it's going to be a high scoring. Dak and Russell are going to be cooking. They're going to be blazing the field with their presence. As far as their quarterback prowess, they're both probably the best in the game right now, playing hard the way they are. I'm going to go with Seattle. I'm going to say they get the 4.5.
I think that's safe to say.
Sunday Night Football, another good one. The Green Bay Packers will travel down to New Orleans and play the Saints. Saints are favored 3.5, and the over and under 51.5.
A battle of two of the best quarterbacks of our lifetime, right? Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. I think Aaron Rodgers, man, I'm liking what I'm seeing there in Green Bay all around from that offense.
Aaron Jones versus Alvin Kamara, two good running backs right now playing off too.
Oh, right, and you can't count out the Saints. Look, they had an absolute stinker last night, but I think they're going to be looking to rebound, obviously.
I think, but I'm going to actually go pick the Green Bay Packers. They're playing really well. No fans in the stands, so it's not like the dome's going to be going crazy. I say the running game does it well, keeps the offense balanced. And Aaron Rodgers does what Aaron Rodgers does, throwing hellacious balls all over the field. I think it'd be high scoring. I'll take the over, but I think the Green Bay Packers get the win.
Same for me. Green Bay over.
Right. All right, Monday Night Football.
Game of the week right here.
Now, this is going to be nuts, and I'm surprised the over and under is not as higher than I thought.
Super Bowl champion versus the MVP from last season.
So you got two former MVPs, the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar versus Mahomes. This is going to be a Madden-like numbers. It's going to be nuts. We can all say that, but the Baltimore Ravens, 3-point favorites. The over and under, 53.5. What do you think? Over,
for sure.
Okay.
I'm going over right here. It's at Baltimore. I don't know how much that means, again, other than the Chiefs have to travel. But again, without the fans in the stands, plays a big role. I don't know if a home game's really a home game, but you're getting to see quite the showdown right here, right? But I think my money's going to be on Kansas City here.
Yeah, you got, of course, you got Mahomes and Lamar, but the key is who is going to have the better run game going. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. J.K. Dobbins of the Ravens is starting to emerge.
Don't forget about Mark Ingram.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got Mark Ingram,
and
but
Lamar Jackson
that can run the football, and every once in a while Mahomes will run the football as well.
And who do you like defensively better? Because I like Baltimore better defensively.
I actually like the Chiefs better.
Yeah?
I do like the Chiefs better. If Baltimore gets down, they're going to be pinning their ears back, kind of like they did with Houston. The reason they didn't play good this game, they got down early, and they couldn't pin their ears back as much as they did against Houston. So it's going to be key if the Chiefs jump out early and quick. If not, we're going to be in for a high-scoring night.
Who'd you pick?
I'm going to pick the Baltimore Ravens.
All right, so we differentiate there. I picked the Chiefs, picked the over. You go with the Ravens. I'd imagine you also agree, though, over probably.
Yeah, like I said, even though the Chiefs have the defense, but it's just I feel like Baltimore has the better running game as far as like number of backs at depth. I'm going to say the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to win it with the running game. It's going to be a good game. All right, Brian, we got week 3 wrapped up. I'm excited. Hopefully, God, I pray that we do not have a slew of injuries like we have. I mean, it was a body bag week. That's what I'm going to call it. It's body bag week. It reminds me of Karate Kid. Get him a body bag, man.
Yeah, you mentioned it, man. Nick Bosa went down. You saw Garoppolo get hurt. Not as bad as the Bosa injury, and they're already dealing with the Kittle injury. You saw, we mentioned Barr went down to the torn pectoral there with Minnesota. Cortland Sutton with the knee. Drew Lock with the shoulder.
Good
Tremont
night.
Jones out 4 to 6 with the knee there for the Broncos. And that's just tough luck, man. You also saw an Achilles injury. So Malik Hooker out for the season. Young stud there at safety for the Colts. That's a big-time loss for them. We mentioned Barkley with the ACL. And McCaffrey with that ankle out for a few weeks, they say. So they could be upwards to 6.
Yeah, and you also got A.J. Brown who's out.
Yeah, and I wonder how long he's going to be out and what he's totally dealing with. I haven't read up on the update there, but I think we're going to see him back soon, right?
Well, they're very commitment on him playing this week.
Well, let him come back when he's feeling good. I don't think we're going to need him against Minnesota, and I hope Corey Davis just keeps continuing to grow.
That's what I'm
this year
saying.
and
We
have
got
a big role.
We got Corey Davis. We got Adam Humphries playing well.
Humphries came up big.
Yeah, Adam Humphries. Of course, Gianno Smith is balling as well. But I think this is going to be the week of Derrick Henry. I think he's going to just explode. He's tired of getting bottlenecked every turn. He's going to want to just break loose, and I think he's going to have a monster week.
Monster week.
I feel it. I feel like Godzilla's fixing to bust out 22 and just demolish everything in front of him. But closing thoughts, Ryan. Well, let's go ahead and shut her down. You got anything you want to close with?
Man, I'll close with my parlay Stone Cold Lock It a Week.
Lock
This
it
is
up.
something I want to have a little fun with. A $5 bet weekly that I'm going to throw on a 5-way parlay and just see where it lands us. So this week's parlay, $5 bet wins $230. You ready for this?
Ready.
Rams plus 120 money line over the Bills. Seahawks -5 over the Cowboys. Tampa Bay -6 over the Broncos. Green Bay plus 130 over the Saints. Chiefs plus 160 on the money line over the Ravens.
Ooh.
$5 bet wins $230. The Stone Cold Lock of the Week parlay style. If you like winning money, lock it up.
You got to lock it up, man. You got to lock it up. You got to get it done,
But again, on a serious note, look, week 2, man, quite exciting. And
Yeah, it
we
was
mentioned
quite.
this weekend, all the NBA, all the NFL action, all the other sports going on out there. Tough to keep up with everything. MLB, man.
SEC's back, baby.
SEC, we still got hockey going on. We got tons of things going on. We are swimming in sports, and I'm loving it.
I'm backstroking right now, man. I'm enjoying it. I just kind of want to talk about I'm going to close on this. Colby Covington got on after his big post-fight win. Went after LeBron James, calling him a spineless coward. But LeBron James responded, "You may be all that in the ring, but you ain't shit outside the ring." So I kind of hope he was saying, athletically you can't match up with me, but I hope he wasn't mentioning, hopefully LeBron is not this freaking stupid.
I'd love to see LeBron train and let him go at it.
Him and Covington.
Pay-per-view style, I'd pay for it. Right?
What we call this, the lefty versus the righty?
I don't know. Call it what you want, but if you put that on pay-per-view, put them on Fight Island, I'm watching it.
Wait. I just got it perfectly. LeBron James, a.k.a. the leftist. On your right, you got the rightist himself, Colby Covington, the Trumper, the Trump supporter. And you have, let's see, Joe Rogan obviously calling it. And
Bronny's in the crowd, and he's smoking a blunt.
And you got Clay Travis also calling it. That would be awesome.
All right. Yeah, man. I'm in. Take my money.
I'd take my money. I'd watch it. But back to what I said, I just hope his comments were trying to call out Covington in a cage fight deal, which I don't think it is. But if it really was, he's a freaking idiot. He's an MMA class A MMA fighter, and you're an NBA player. Stay in your lane. Don't call out an MMA fighter. If you're calling out another NBA player, that's one thing. But if you're calling out a MMA fighter, stay in your lane.
Man,
stay over
look,
there.
and I don't
I'm
even
with
like
you.
to see the politics from either direction.
I do too, but it's just LeBron, there's time to talk, and there's time to just shut the hell up. I think at this point, we get it.
Don't do it, Chuck. Don't say shut up and dribble.
No, I was just saying we get that you woke, but don't force it. Don't force it on everybody. Covington's got his beliefs. You got your beliefs. Leave it as is.
Leave it as is. Man, on a lighter note too, Chuck, here, just to throw this in, did you see Tom Brady was on an interview recently on a podcast, the Armchair Expert podcast with Dax Shepard? I don't know if you ever listened to it, but he goes on there. Somehow the subject came up, pregame sex with his wife, Giselle. So
Wow.
Brady said, quote, "Oh, man, that's totally off the table. I wouldn't say it's probably never happened, but I don't think that would be the moment. That wouldn't be his pregame warm-up," he says. Man, look, I don't know.
If you were Tom Brady, would you want some of that before the game?
Absolutely.
Get your blood pumping, get your blood flowing.
I don't know, or do you just save it for after the game? Maybe that's where some of that fire in his eyes is. He says, "All right, baby, I see you up there in that box. You wait till we get on that jet."
I was about to say, you wait till we get on that jet. I'm going to be quarterback sneaking it all the way home, baby.
You know, though, I don't think his old boss, Robert Kraft, he probably don't have the same attitude, though, huh?
No, he just went down to Jacksonville at a massage parlor just getting him
Different strokes it takes. Different strokes it takes.
Oh, yes, absolutely. But, dude, man, what a week. Like we've been saying, what a week of football, man. What a
love
week.
it, man.
What a week we're going to have. We got SEC also coming into the fray with the NFL.
NBA playoffs, as we're looking right now, 111-99. Denver up, looking like they're going to win here in Game 3 to make this series 2-1.
How much time?
52 seconds.
And it's over. So, with that being said,
Oh, Kuzma and one.
really, what's the score now?
101-111.
I still think it's over.
48.8. I think it's over.
It's over. But unless we see them pull the Atlanta choker there for a minute, but I don't think it's going to happen. Ryan, you got anything else before we get closed out tonight, brother?
Chuck, it's been great talking to you again, man. I can't
Always.
wait for next week after another exciting week of sports. Again, appreciate all the likes, all the follows, man, all the views. Keep it up. Let us know what's working, what ain't working for you. And,
Go from there. That's all we can do. We can go from there. Same thing with you, Ryan. I appreciate it, brother. Always, it's always a pleasure to come on here and talk some sports. It seems like we talk mostly football, but man, that's in our blood. It's in our genes. We love sports. We're glad it's back, and I'm also glad to talk with you. Like I said, with you, partner in crime, Ryan. I appreciate you. I'll go ahead and shut us down, Ryan. And man, I am Chuck.
I'm Ryan.
Till next time, do not be an Atlanta Falcon and choke your life away. Tune in next time, folks. We'll see you.
Peace out.